At what point did you feel the need to be a part of the resistance? Was it just one of those, you were there and that's what people did, or how did that happen for you?
Well, yes, I was there and that's what people did, but I didn't do anything until the 11th of November 1940, when we all went to pay our respect to the tomb of the unknown soldiers in Brussels. And the Germans came and tried to disperse the group because it was forbidden, and they shot right into the people. And that spurred me on, you know.
That must have been horrible to be there.
It was bad.
To see it.
It was bad, yes. It was very, very distressing, very disturbing.
But it was right after that you decided to...
That's what, yes, we went back then and decided we had to do something besides not being nice to them when we saw them on the street all over the place.
How conscious were you of the dangers of what you were doing when you got in, when you decided to be a part of this? I mean, the shooting into the crowd must have made you know this was serious business.
I was 20. There's no danger when you're 20. It's natural. You espouse a cause and you go for it. You have no... Yes, it was dangerous. Yes, it was terrifying at times, but what else could you do?
Well, some people probably didn't do it at all.
No, that's right. Some people do, and some people said, well, we are never going to win the war. The Germans are so powerful that they collaborated. Very few of them in Belgium, but some did. And some, I had been brought up with memories of the First World War because I was born in 1920, so I knew that they were not very nice people. And we had nothing to do with them, you know. If we passed them on the street, we just looked the other way as if they didn't exist as much as possible. It was very frightening at times because you could see that they would block out entirely blocks of houses and just go into every house and you know, remove the young men and send them to Germany on for forced labor. They needed people to work in Germany because their young men were all in the army.
But you believed that you were doing something that mattered?
Absolutely. I knew that they would be defeated, that eventually would be liberated. I had no idea it would take 4 years, but they were the occupying forces. You have nothing to do with the occupying forces. You just try to survive. Jacques Litten and I were engaged. He was a student in law school at Brussels University. However, Brussels University had been closed because the Germans wanted to remove all the Jewish teachers and professors and replace them by their own people, so they closed the university. So they followed clandestine courses in people's private houses. But anyway, I don't know much what he did aside from being a student and being active in the resistance, because I didn't want to know. You didn't ask people where they lived or what they did. They just accepted them as they were. So he told me one time, I was a student at the nursing school at the time, he told me he would not see me that evening because he was going to Ghent for a meeting, and I have no idea what it was. But another friend of ours came by to see me, and it was a lovely evening, so we went up to a cafe where students go, and we were just having, I don't know, a drink or something, and he came in. And we were very surprised because he wasn't supposed to be in Brussels, but he said his meeting had been cancelled. And shortly after he walked in, the Gestapo came in and arrested him and the friend I had come with, Alfred Cheval. And they were both taken away. Alfred was relieved after 2 days, but Jacques, I never saw him again. He was taken first to a concentration camp in Belgium, between Brussels and Antwerp. What was it called? Brendonk, yes. And from there he was sent to Germany, but I don't know when. Never found out when. After the liberation, I contacted the Red Cross to try to find out if there was anything we could find out, but they couldn't give me any information. I have a letter from the Red Cross there. Anyway, by June of 1945, I had a letter from this friend of mine who told me that Jacques had died in 1942 in a camp in Austria. And by that time I was in Germany. There was so much work to do. I didn't want to go back to Belgium. I stayed with UNRWA until it was UNRWA ceased their operation, and we were taken over by the International Refugee Organization, IRO. And so I kept on working in different camps in Germany.
I understand that you found out what happened to Jacques, though. The Germans used him for tests or something? You found out?
They said, apparently, I never saw the papers, but they said he had died of pneumonia, which was what they said when people had been put in the ice bath, you know, to see how long they could survive. This was an experiment that was done to find out how long pilots who were dropped over the North Sea could survive in the water. So they put the prisoners in baths full of ice and see how long they would resist. And then they warmed them up, and then they tried again.
Oh, awful.
And he died.
You know, we talk a lot now about trauma, that people are traumatized by these kinds of experiences in wars or do you think back on those times? You had to be traumatized.
For a long time, yes. For a long time.
Tell me a little bit about...
For a long time, for almost 10 years, I was dreaming that you know, some prisoners came back from, after being months and months and months hiding somewhere, and always thought Jacques was coming back. It's, I could not accept the fact that, not having had anything official in my hands, that he was gone. And also I was not very sympathetic to any Germans I came across, because in every German I saw an occupier. I could not, although some of them were very nice people, I'm sure, but I could not reconcile the fact that the war was over.